guys, and Stormrider here with another episode of The Bloody Point. Today I wanted to talk about stalking, that is the good kind, stalking the prey. Unfortunately, things went slightly different than I'd planned. Differently. You can see here that I'm watching these two guys in the distance harvesting. They're fighting cats. You can actually tell when you mouse over their names from a distance, you know what their faction is and see who they are. I wasn't planning on killing them. I just wanted to see how much I could follow them, how close I could stay without them seeing me. In this particular case, they moved off, as you can see here. So I'm going to go and chase after them. You know, Crowfall is a game which is going to rely heavily on kind of sandbox, dynamic content kind of thing that's generated by the players and not so much by quests. And given that fact, you are going to see a lot of, you know, encounter-based gameplay where you're just out in the open world, either alone or with a group, and the things you encounter are going to be what creates the content. And a big part of that is how you react, what you do, what the person you're interacting with does, and then together you're creating the meat of the game. You can see here that those two guys stopped at the edge of the forest to harvest some wood. I'm stealthed or camoed here, so they can't see me, but unfortunately I stopped near a spawn of hellcats, and the hellcats are quite adept at sniffing out stealth players, and this one here is about to jump at me. There we go. So my my stealthy approach has been ruined somewhat by the hellcat noise, as well as my teleport or dissipate sound. I'm also going to have to deal with this cat. I'm going to have to kill it because it's going to keep following me. Fortunately, it seems like these guys moved on, so they didn't hear me. I'm going to dispatch this cat. I'm not going to cast too much, because even though someone nearby could hear me, if I don't cast a lot, they won't necessarily know what class I am if they don't see me, so I'm going to use the cat's own damage against it and reflect it. I'll sit here and eat this damage for a bit. So, as I was saying, open world content is really where it's at, and currently in the test, we see a fair bit of that. Generally speaking, you know, you have fights over the POI or the forts and the keeps. Occasionally you get a siege, and those kinds of things, of course, are obviously exciting and the big part of the gameplay. But it's the smaller interactions which are fun as well, especially the dynamics of a situation that are really connected to your decision making. You know, if you decide to attack somebody, or especially in this 3-faction system, if you decide to defend someone who's not in your faction, that's always fun. 3-faction fights occur fairly often, and that's cool too. Okay, so the cat is dead, nicely carrying gold around. I'm not sure why. I suppose they have to do laundry, you know, need coins. Another thing, this is the original purpose of my video, was to talk about stalking and ways to sneak up on people in relation to the previous video about using terrain. So here I'm going to go around the forest, keeping a low profile, so I have this hill on my right. If anybody happens to be watching from that side, there's less of a chance that they will see me. A swamp here, an area of the map that not a lot of people visit. It's one of the better ones. So I'm going to cut across and hopefully reacquire these guys wherever the heck they went. I'm not really sure at this point. But back to my original thought, you know, interacting with people is a big part of the gameplay, and you can do that in many ways. Generally speaking, it just amounts to killing them if they're in the opposite faction, but even that can go different ways. You know, you have choices about who you decide to kill. You know, if you see someone who's not got any gear, they're in very basic equipment, and you're not, you know, obviously there's a disadvantage there, and sure, you could kill them, and they might even have valuable stuff on them, but you got to think about what kind of experience is that, a gameplay experience, both for yourself and for them. For you, it's, you know, a few seconds of satisfaction. It's not really giving you much, and for them, you're probably creating a negative experience. Personally, I tend not to kill people who I identify as, being pretty below my situation, whether it be gear or training. But that's not everybody's approach, and that's fine. It's an open world game, and it's a PvP game, and killing people is one of the objectives. But I always like to impress upon people to keep in mind, you're creating the content, right? You're creating part of the game, and that's part of selling the game to other people. So I think they must be on this side. So I'm gonna go up, but I hear something. A miner. Oh, this is interesting. So I'm gonna see if I can get a look at him, see what faction, if he's with them or not. A great thing about the open world is if you explore it, you come across all kinds of interesting things like this. There they are. Now, how they didn't see me, I have no idea, but they didn't. I talked to them afterwards, and they had no clue I was here. And it appears the miner also has no clue I'm here. And certainly no clue they are here. So here we have an interesting situation. We have dynamic content being created. I have a choice. I can kill this guy and then deal with them. I can kill them. I can do nothing and watch. Lots of opportunities here for great gameplay. Now this guy apparently has heard something. He's looking in the wrong direction, unfortunately. He's facing down to the southeast, which is not where any of us are. He can't see me, which is good. You can see there's the two, I guess one of them's a Templar, I'm not sure what the other guy is. There's an assassin there as well. So this is the kind of thing that in release we'll see more of, but we see it now in test where you are really in real time creating the content. Unlike most MMOs where you have quests and so on, this is PvP based. It's very much a social experience, and that can manifest in many different ways. In this way, it's going to manifest, rather in this case, it's going to manifest in a very specific way, which is I've decided that they're obviously tracking him. They're stalking him, which is what I had intended to make this video about. And I'm pretty well positioned here, so I'm order. The miner is balanced. I'm going to come to his defense and see if I can help him get away. So here they go. Let's see how this plays out. Now you can see the balanced guy, if you look, he's running for his life. Not even turning around. He's not taking a chance. He's gone. I believe the assassin who hasn't popped on me is probably pursuing him. But, the miner has a good enough head start. He's getting away. Now, an interesting thing is going to come up here. Recently, of late, people have been complaining about the bomb. And you can see here I'm casting orbs. An experienced player will tell what I'm doing. It's very much telegraphed with pirouetting animation. And you just avoid it simply, it's very easy to avoid. Gear disparity is a part of the game, but a big part of the game is knowledge disparity. And these guys have no idea, obviously, what I've done, and they're about to pay for it. Now, I talked to these guys after, as I said, and they told me this was their first day. This was essentially their first fight. This wasn't much of a fight, but point being that the interaction for them was interesting. They died, obviously, so that's not good, but I decided not to loot them. I took their gold, but did not take their items. So, they lost a little bit of durability. They learned a lesson, perhaps. They had some fun, and really, that's ultimately what it's about. Dynamic content is curated by the players. The devs can do certain things, but at the end of the day, it's up to us, and we have to be responsible. I think in this stage of the game during testing to create good gameplay for the players, and then in release, realize that we make the game, we make the content, we make the experience, and that's part of the fun. And that is the bloody point.